All right, there we go. Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 310. That number just seems comically large at times.
Keeps getting bigger.
Your once-week live stop for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
I'm Rett.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining on this Wednesday night or in podcast form over on Anchor.fm or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, usually some Star Trek. All super chats are read on the air so long as they will not permanently demonetize the channel. We do drink alcohol on the show, and tonight is Big Stout Night, as Skull reminded me of about 30 seconds ago. So thank you to my moderators for making sure I had the right beer in my hand. Let's see, where was I at? I don't remember. Super chats, we do drink alcohol on the show. Yes, cool. And if you're drinking along with us, let us know in the chat, and we'll give some early show shoutouts as we go along. And I am very much looking forward to what is in the chat tonight, because there should be some big beers tonight. Last but not least, if you'd like to take part in the super secret chat and the even more super secret after party, think about joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to my Discord server where you can chat with myself, John, Rett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and join the awesome community that hangs out over there. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, welcome.
All right.
Wish I would have known about Big Stout Night a little earlier, but that's all right.
Yeah, I think we talked about it last week, but I don't know if we ever added, especially the co-hosts. So we talked about it in the after party. Yeah, I knew I had this beer set out for a specific reason, and then I went down to the shelf and I went, I'll save that one for maybe tonight, after the show. And it's oh right, it's Big Stout Night. So it is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Most of us don't have anywhere to go, anything to do tomorrow. Hopefully, I'm not even doing my Thanksgiving until Friday this year. So I especially don't have to be anywhere tomorrow.
Nice.
So that usually gives us a perfect opportunity to open some very large beers that we ordinarily wouldn't open. So I am cracking the seal on a good old wax top bottle right here. Before I reveal exactly what it is, I want to see who all has got some stuff going on in the chat. Let's see, Skull starting us off. Bourbon County brand Biscotti Stout 2022 Imperial Double Pastry Stout 14.3%. That's a way to start us off.
Good Lord.
That's a way to start it. Elmis drinking an Aleworks Brewing Company Seasonal Coffee House Milk Stout, 5.4%. Novella's got an Excelsior Brewing Rip Rap Peanut Butter Cup Stout. Is that a 5.6 or a 15.6? Because I would have thought Novella would have been keen to Big Stout Night.
Wow, shots fired.
Cyber Voodoo's got a Reeve Coffee Stout, Parish Brewing Company, 6.8%. I'm going to look up the Excelsior Brewing Rip Rap.
It's Excelsior. It's definitely 5.6.
Definitely 5.6? Yep, Rip Rap Stout, 5.6%.
That is big, okay? Don't let the propaganda get to you, all right?
I am not encouraging anyone to drink anything they are not comfortable drinking tonight. I want to make that abundantly clear. Novella Hub says he's building up from there. Big ones later. Okay, that's fair enough.
Look, presumably I have something in my hands that's probably 15 to 20%.
Presumably. Do you want to reveal what it is that you're drinking tonight?
Well, right now I just have a glass of wine in my hand, so...
I mean... That's totally fair.
It's a 2017 Syrah from Coria Estates. So there you go.
All right.
Yeah. Hints of vanilla and oak. It's
So I was in a wedding last week. I was one of the groomsmen for a wedding. My wife's brother got married. And he and his new bride, they do everything by the book. And by the book, I mean, if you have a wedding and you're inviting so many people, you should expect everyone to drink so many drinks, and so that's how much alcohol we're going to buy. They didn't take into account that half the family is dry. And so they bought this ton of alcohol. And then when the wedding was done, they're like, here, take alcohol home. I came home with 5 cases of liquor. I got 2 cases of pub beer. Because no one wanted to take that home. And then I'm like, I guess I'll take some bottles of wine and everything. I think I got something like almost 20 bottles of wine. Maybe 12, maybe 20 is a little much, but a lot. And I ended up with a full case and a half of Deschutes Jubile Ale, their winter ale. And some various other like odds and ends, but yeah, like 5 giant boxes I loaded into my car after the wedding. So
yeah, around these parts it's customary to, you know, surround the keg in the back of the pickup truck while somebody pumps and fills up your random Tupperware. You know, it's like you can't leave anything left in the keg when the party's over, so
that's
everybody's
true.
just handing it out.
That's true. Yeah, ours.
One person pumps.
Ours was all cans and wine, but let's see. Yeah, Novella Hub ABV shamed. Sorry, bro. I didn't mean it like that. Reverend's got a Big Little Thing from Sierra Nevada. That's a solid IPA. James, not a beer, but having a sip or two of Doc Swanson's Blender Cut 5-year bourbon. 57.5%, so we got a cask strength bourbon going on. 57.5 will dilute. Yeah, you can dilute that down. Pour it over a rock, it'll dilute itself. Or get some craft computing whiskey stones. All right, I think it's time to reveal the beer that I'm opening. I can't take full credit for this one. Novella Hub did send this beer over to me. So Novella Hub, you are forgiven for your ABV or lack thereof. I am opening an Anchorage Brewing Company Air Whale Hell. Let me just read the description on this one. Fermented and aged in Missouri oak, finished on Thai bananas, Tahitian vanilla beans, and Clatch coffee. 15%.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Oh, it's dope, though.
Yeah. Is this normal? Hell no. Air Well Hell from Anchorage Brewing. And I will say, I finally got in a stout glass that I think is going to make the store. So I'm working on some designs for it. That's my goal for this weekend. To etch this and add it to the craft computing store. So hopefully a stout glass coming maybe as early as next week. I'm working on... Well, let's be clear. I'm starting the design for this one. But that's the nice thing about owning your own laser is you can go out to the laser and you can put it in there and etch it and go, yeah, I like that. Cool. Let's move with that. But good quality glass, good feel to it. Got that nice Nonic pint style bulb to it. Oh my God. You know, often we say if your beer pours like used motor oil, it's a good one. This one, I almost want to take a magnet to it to make sure there's not engine shavings in there. My God. And at 15%, it still has a head. Oh. Lot of banana. Wow, that's a lot of banana. Skull says, Operation BreakCraftComputing.store, heard loud and clear. Hopefully that's the goal for this next week. More like tar. Yeah. I mean, we've still got our bottle openers. We've got my classic pint glass, my conical pint. with the circuit design. I'm trying to go something completely different than the circuit this time around, just as an FYI. So I'm figuring out you know what? Let me know in chat right now. What design do you guys want to see on here? Like give me a starting place and see if I like it. It can be IT related, it can be beer related, it can be nothing at all related. Let me know what you want to see.
It looks like the Matrix code, but it's just bubbles because it's beer, you know?
Ooh.
Nailed it.
I could do like a Matrix inspired glass. I think that might be kind of cool.
It'd be fun.
My goal eventually is to carry a lot of different types of glassware, because I am glassware obsessed. I love serving a drink in the proper vessel. I have dozens of different cocktail glasses, and a very growing beer glass collection as well. But Wi-Fi signal inspired. I'm not sure how I would do that other than just like the standard, like, here's your 3 Wi-Fi signal bars, like circuit board in the shape of a pint glass etched on said pint glass. Yeah, I already did the circuit design though, and I mean, the circuit design's awesome. I love this design. But or I guess circuit board, like a circuit design in the shape of the glass, but then that pattern etched onto the glass. I see that. Okay. Can I do custom naming? That is something that I have thought about doing. I definitely have the capacity to do that. I've thought about, especially for the flasks, like if you want to order a set of flasks for, a wedding party or something like that, like it's no big deal for me to customize merch. I'm just debating on what I want to charge for that. Make sure I still put out a consistent product, because I don't ever want to sell something that someone opens and goes, oh, that's, yeah. I want everything that I sell to be genuinely good quality. A portrait of the better Jeff Geerling. You son of a bitch. That's good. Celtic Runes, that could be a fun one to play on. Yeah, probably with the pigeon head. Pigeon head Jeff on a beer glass. That'd be funny. Vast CNC says, I know it's not glassware, but etched rack blanks would be sweet. You should check out my most recent premium video. And actually, I think it's been in a couple B-roll shots of my rack. At the top of my rack, I have a Star Trek-inspired LCARS design on a 2U blank panel that I made out of a piece of 1x wood that says Home Lab, Sweet Home Lab. So yes, I should probably put that on there and start selling that. And in fact, I just, for my laser setup, I just bought a couple of for camera you'd call them cheese plate, but rigging clamps. They are 400 by 600 millimeter by half-inch thick aluminum plates with bolt holes every 25 millimeter for clamping projects in different ways. So now I can do projects with much larger areas than my cutting area and be able to predictably mount it in and etch it the same way every single time. So yeah, no, actually doing some rack blanks with like Home Lab, Sweet Home Lab, or some, It's Always DNS or something. Definitely something I could produce. So Yeah, maybe before the end of the year, we'll start turning some of that stuff around too. Anyway, oh my god, that is good. This poured like syrup, but it is not a syrupy sweet beer. It's very spicy. It's like a... Gosh. The banana and the vanilla are definitely the flavors that carry it. And it has this alcohol burn that almost is like a hot sauce heat that carries it underneath. Gosh, how do I explain this one? There's so much going on my tongue right now.
I wish I could taste it for you.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh gosh, what is that banana... There's a banana chocolate cocktail.
Don't you know about the banana cream chocolate cocktail?
Oh, where's that at? Anyway, yeah. Chocolate, banana, vanilla, spice, and not sweet, but almost like a heat because of the ABV content to it. But super well balanced between all of them. I like it. All right. You could also do auto enthusiast based glassware. Yeah, like I said, I could do just about anything. Lawsuit settlement letter from Bite My Bits on the design. That'd be funny. Just have the closing statement on there and the judge's signature. That might be a fun one to play around with. You know what? Maybe as a Discord exclusive, I should do that one. Maybe as a... and I should announce it on his Discord as well, that if you want the closing statement and the judge's signature on a pint glass, I'm selling that. That'd be great. For those who don't know, my LCAR still says Jason sucks right there in the middle. So... Which is the ultimate troll, because he kept trying to troll me for years, and I'm like, Jason, it's literally like, it's been there for like 3 years and I haven't said a thing. So he went back and he looked, son of a... Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into the news. The news! Starting with, can we get off OpenAI's wild ride? Holy crap. How to tank your company's reputation through ignorance and stupidity. And then try to pretend you didn't. And then rehire the CEO and pretend nothing happened, except we all had to resign now. Holy crap, what a week. So starting on like Friday night, we hear that out of the blue, OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, has ousted CEO and founder Sam Altman. And this was a bit of a shock to just about everyone. This is, I mean, they had their first ever conference and investor conference just a couple of weeks ago. They have recently announced a partnership with Microsoft for powering Bing and a lot of Microsoft's upcoming AI features inside of Windows. How can this company not be headed in the right direction? And why is it they felt, ousting, one of the key people in this, the CEO, Sam Altman, the right decision? Well, Far be it from me to question the board of directors, but on Friday, Sam Altman was ousted from OpenAI and went to Twitter. I hate that they have to say X, formerly Twitter. Can't wait till that whole thing gets resolved. Anyway, so on Friday, about 3 p.m. Eastern, it was announced that Sam Altman had been joined a Google Meet call with most of OpenAI's board, and they fired him. Like, hey, Sam, hey, we were wanting to talk to you real quick. Yeah, buddy, it's not working out. Sorry. So he posted to Twitter that, he's no longer the CEO, but excited for what lies ahead. Well, it turns out that Mira Murati, the company's chief technical officer, was going to become the interim CEO. And that was that, right?
Wrong.
Wrong. Oh, how wrong we were. One sec. I want to make sure I get all the timeline and names correct, because holy crap. Within a half hour, the board also informed Greg Brockman, another co-founder and OpenAI president, that he would be removed from his position on the board. So basically, the one supporter that he still had on the board, probably the person that voted no, said, "Hey, sorry, it's not going to work out with you either." Mira Murati was then named the interim CEO. Now, a couple of minutes before Sam was informed, the board reached out to strategic financial partners, including Microsoft, and informed them of the board's decision. So Brockman said that he was being removed from the board and promptly quit, and said, "Don't spend any time being concerned. We will be fine. Greater things coming soon." Cool. Put a bow on it. Weirdest firing in recent tech history on the books, and we can move forward, right? Wrong. Apparently on Saturday, reports emerged that he and other ex-OpenAI loyalists were mulling plans for a venture on their own. OpenAI's board was also reportedly having some second thoughts and considering asking the ousted CEO to return. Hey, so listen, we both got really drunk, and I want to apologize for what happened yesterday. Can you come back and work? That would be swell. Talk to you soon. Love the board, right? As early as Sunday, Altman was back at OpenAI's headquarters to discuss a potential return. But apparently he had a list of demands for the board to follow through on if he was going to come back. So now he went from ousted CEO to position of power, and if you want me back, here's a list of things that are going to be on my rider. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella reportedly also mediated the discussion as an impartial third party. Apparently, one of the demands was that Microsoft gets a seat on the board of directors. And those talks reportedly broke down. They had a deadline of 5 p.m. Pacific time to come up with an agreement, and that agreement was not reached. On Sunday, it was also announced that, Nadella, Microsoft CEO, announced that Altman and Brockman would be joining Microsoft and running a new AI research group. So it didn't work out with them, but don't worry, they're just going to work for us doing the same damn thing now. That's totally cool. And so cool, interesting weekend, right? Wrong. The story continues on Monday. On Monday, OpenAI announced a new CEO who was Emmett Shear, who you might remember is the former CEO of Twitch, who called it a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and was thrilled to take over the CEO position. But Also on Monday, 500 OpenAI staffers, 500 of the 770 OpenAI staffers said either rehire and reinstate Altman or we'll follow him to Microsoft. Which is kind of an empty threat when you take it at face value, because it's like, well, yeah, Microsoft had the budget to, hire Altman, but do they have the budget to hire 500 AI staffers, developers and everything else? And so Monday kind of came and went, and that was about it. But an open letter saying we'll walk if Altman doesn't get reinstated. I'm sure the board looked at that and went, oh, they're not happy, but they're not exactly just going to jump ship like that. I mean, that takes weeks to coordinate or months to coordinate, developing a new, in-house AI program, and what's the budget going to look like for Microsoft. Tuesday morning, Microsoft responded and said, hey, we'll pay match anyone from OpenAI who wants to jump ship. No questions asked. What were you making there? You'll make that here. By the way, also as of Tuesday, the number was up to 700 of the 770 employees had signed the open letter. So 90% had signed the letter saying we will go to Microsoft, and Microsoft said, where do we sign? Now, for those who don't know, Microsoft owns 49% shares of OpenAI. They are a vested partner in the success of OpenAI. But simply transitioning payroll from one company over to Microsoft has to be, in the history of corporate takeovers, one of the least expensive ones on record, right? Like, if that actually were to take place. Like, you don't have to own OpenAI anymore. You can just take over their payroll for them. That's like take over payments for the lease on the Toyota Corolla I no longer want.
Except they do want the Corolla, but...
Except they wanted to keep the Corolla, but someone else pay for it, please.
Yeah.
But yeah, interestingly enough, at 10 o'clock last night, the board opted for the sane solution of taking the blue pill and biting it as they signed the contract to reinstate Altman as CEO of OpenAI, and all of them resigned. The only holdout from the board who will be present on the board moving forward is Greg Brockman. Greg Brockman gets his seat back, Sam Altman is now CEO again, and the entire board resigned.
What a disaster.
And I think
it sounds like a bunch of corporate moves that ChatGPT orchestrated.
The original ousting letter was so vitriolic, I almost wonder if it was written by ChatGPT, because it was a scathing. We were wondering if there was like a sex scandal about to break, because this came out of absolutely nowhere. Of why Sam Altman was being fired. And like I said, most puzzling ousters that I can remember, because the company's been nothing but successful. And you can have disagreements with your board, but as long as you're making money, the board's usually on board for whatever you have. And they were still making money. And so unless this was something that was going to be a massive black eye that was going to be coming out about Sam Altman, you would think it's just business as usual, right? Well, they ousted him. And so we're waiting for the next shoe to drop of like, oh boy, Sam Altman arrested Monday morning on federal charges of blah, 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 blah. Like, that's usually what follows something this weird and out of left field. But then for Microsoft to step up on Sunday and go, no, we just hired him. Surely there was some investigation that went like, is anything coming out? Like, are you expecting federal agents on your door Monday morning? Nope. Okay, well then you're in the clear. Cool. Such a weird, twisted, bizarre story.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if anything else will sort of roll out of that, if we'll get more information about, you know, but that's the nature. I mean, I know um OpenAI is not exactly small anymore, but like just the nature of startups in general is
Mm,
it's just pure chaos in general, you
yep.
know. Um and so you hear that and that's like that's doesn't really sound like an unsurprising story for a tech startup.
For tech
But
startups, but not one quite as predominant as OpenAI. Like,
with that level of like that level of profile,
right, that
like
level of profile and that number of employees. Like, I've heard of, like, the 30 employees ousting the founder in the early hours of
yeah,
a morning or something like that, and you know 770 employees, a full managing board, a full corporate infrastructure. Like, these things were already in place.
yeah,
So it's kind of hard to still consider OpenAI a startup. I mean, they're not NASDAQ 500 yet, but I think
yeah,
they're well beyond startup level
yeah,
when it
yeah.
comes to internal structure. Um, so yeah, it's weird to hear this type of back and forth and waffling and successful coup and then successful, you know, reinstation uh, of a company this size. Like,
Yeah.
it's just weird. It's just an accelerated firing and rehiring of Steve Jobs. Basically, yes. I mean, this is basically the same exact story. It just didn't take 6 years for Apple to realize their mistake in this case.
They're like, oh no, we've seen this movie before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wild stuff.
Yeah. So I did post two different articles, one about simply the rehiring of Sam Altman, and then CNN did a full breakdown day by
Yeah.
day. So if you want to get the play by play, it's all
One
there.
was one was written by a person and the other was written by Chat GPT as well.
I,
So
I would imagine at this point it kind of
equal
had to be.
opportunity. Dude, I was looking for a recipe today of a vegan pizza. I thought, well, what are some good vegan pizza recipe ideas? I quickly realized that this article I was reading, because it's a listicle, was written by AI because about 5, 6, 7, 8 pizzas in, none of them were vegan anymore. None of them were vegan. A
Yeah,
listicle of the 30 best vegan pizza recipes or whatever. And it was like started strong.
yeah.
And then literally was like, and this one has Italian sausage. And this one has bacon and cheddar cheese. It's like,
You should
what?
have realized that you were being duped from the start when a list of vegan pizzas is more than 3 long.
Well, I found some really good ideas on other websites, and I was like, well, I just wanted some ideas, kicking off points.
Yeah.
Like I found one that was like a really good, like almost like a banh mi style vegan recipe with like
Nice.
peanuts, like a peanut butter sauce,
Yeah.
and like, oh, dude, it sounded so good. When you really start thinking about it, it's like the only thing I like on pizza that isn't vegan is cheese and pepperoni. It's like, so you want to mix and match and play around with that idea? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't even mind some cheese substitutes. So
That's true. Yeah.
um, some of them are okay. So I figured I'd start playing around. The only thing it really limits me on, I can't really do a white sauce pizza. You gotta do a red sauce pizza. Um, but anyway, yeah. Rhett's audio is half a second off. No.
That's odd.
Do I look off? Do I look off?
It looks perfect. Okay, you're what is the saying? Don't bullshit a bullshitter. Yeah, no, I can anyone else confirm if is Rhett's audio off? Pay no attention to Rhett right now, of course.
Look, while we're debating it, I got another beer. Well, I didn't. This is my first beer, but it's a Warsteiner Oktoberfest. Why won't it focus? Come on. Come on.
Did you turn auto? Oh, there it goes. It's just yeah.
Really slow lately.
We might have set it on. You can adjust the focus speed if you're on the A100 Sony that I get, or I think it's the A100.
I am.
Yeah. You can adjust the focus speed, so if you're trying to film like cinematically, it won't just like pop the focus. So I think we set it on the slowest focus. So if you're filming live, it'll ramp in.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So
that makes sense. Plus, I've been messing with the settings like crazy lately. Just experimenting with stuff. It's crazy how much you can do with this camera.
Yeah.
It's kind of impressive.
I have no idea how in the world your audio would be off, because I'm looking at OBS right now. Like I'll even do this number, okay? Here's OBS. And
yeah,
your audio is tracking exactly with your video, both on the Zoom feed, in my ear, on the Zoom window, as well as on the OBS window.
Yeah. It looks right to me, too.
So...
don't know.
Weird.
Could be... I don't know. Well, what are you going to do?
Yep. Well, just listen to us then, I guess.
Yeah, turn off the video. Go.
Yeah, Jeff seems solid. Rhett seems off.
That's just normal. Sorry, guys. My hands are tied. There's nothing I can do. Plus, I already started drinking, so I can't drive over there.
This is true.
The damage is done, as they say. You can't unpickle this bun.
You can't unpickle the beer. Or the burger. That's right. Can't unpickle the beer either.
You can try. My kidneys do a good job, but...
Running on ad blocker. Yeah, that's probably it.
You know, I know this isn't what's happening, but I one time spent like 3 hours tracking down an audio delay in my DAW when I was making some music.
Uh-huh.
And it turns out I had strung one signal on my mixer through an effect chain that caused like a literal, I don't know, like 30, 40 millisecond delay in this one thing.
I will say, I have no idea how that got set. Your audio channel in OBS did have a sync offset of 200 millisecond.
Interesting.
I'm wondering if it's fixed now.
I don't know.
Now, some people were saying 2 or 3 seconds. It
That's
just
awful.
fixed itself. Fixed for me.
Sync offset, huh?
I have not changed that setting for 2 years. What the crap? It seems better now. Yep. Yeah, there's a... Yeah, seems a lot better. What the crap?
This literally reminds me of that time when I was working in Fruity Loops and Fruity Loops. FL Studio, as it's called nowadays, because I'm a grown-up. And and I had one thing going.
You still didn't pay for it.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. What are you talking about? Certainly have paid for it. FL Studio, what are we on? 21 now? Paid like $600 for that.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. Sometimes... And OBS is crazy because, yeah, I've never had it quite change settings on me, but I've definitely had it do unexpected things often.
Yeah.
So that seems in line.
Yeah, I haven't even updated OBS lately. I'm still on 29. I know they came out with 30 like 2 weeks ago or something like that. I'm on 29.11, which is where I've been for a couple of months at least.
Post Vox did a whole video on it.
Yeah, he loves 30. I did watch that video. But that's weird that all of a sudden tonight it's causing an issue. Because I've watched replays multiple times, and it's always been on with that setting.
Interesting.
I do have a 125 millisecond delay on mine because I know, especially on this camera, the way I'm piping it in is I'm using the OBS bot Tiny 2, the AI-driven camera, but I'm piping it in through its own software first, so I can get the pan tilt zoom control, and then I'm using its virtual camera to pipe into OBS. But that also means that when I have to use the camera for other applications, if I have a web meeting or something like that, I can use the camera also through the virtual camera driver. It Windows driver issue weird. So yeah, it does add a slight audio delay, and I compensate for that. But yeah, that's weird. Anyway, so this one's an interesting story. Apparently, who was the data recovery company? Austria-based Atingo, a data recovery company. And I'm just going to read directly off the TechSpot post here. Says that its technicians have fixed a large number of SanDisk portable SSD units, with at least one person bringing a new SanDisk device in every week. After examining the drives, Atingo has seemingly confirmed that the failing devices are affected by poor welding jobs and oversized components. So they're seeing a larger number than they would expect of failures being sent to a third-party repair company. And they're kind of calling SanDisk out in this. The recent statements suggest that hardware components may be responsible for a firmware issue that impacted certain SanDisk Extreme Pro 1TB, 2TB, and 4TB drives. While we were working to gather more information at this time, we did not believe hardware issues played a role in the product, and that is a statement directly from SanDisk. It said that the drive, Atingo said the drives show, quote, a noticeable amount of errors. This is a hardware problem, not a firmware one. With the main issue being the device's design and construction weakness. The entire soldering process of the SSD is flawed, as the soldering material creates bubbles that make things break more easily. So, two issues here. One, oversized components potentially touching the external shell, and as the drive gets moved around, as this is a portable drive, is pressing on it. And then poor solder joints, poor welding of your solder joints, means that they're more prone to breaking because there's less material there and it's more porous, more prone to losing contact. There's not really a statement in here about which specific drives are affected. Atingo simply says that we see SanDisk drives coming in all the time. And don't really outline which exact ones. The statement from SanDisk does state some particular drives. SanDisk Extreme Pro, 1TB, 2TB, 4TB, SanDisk Extreme 4TB, WD Passport SSD 4, portable SSD. So those are the ones that apparently Atingo is coming out with accusations against. And SanDisk says they carry out rigorous testing procedures for all its SSD products before shipping them to retailers. At this time, we do not believe hardware issues played a role in the product concerns that we successfully addressed with the firmware update. Although, if Atingo is fixing these drives by resoldering components, you think maybe it would. So, Yeah, come back, lead solder. All is forgiven. Yeah, the tin-based solder that is used now, the non-lead solder, kind of like non-leaded gasoline. Like, who knows? Who knows if that's exactly the issue? Although there should be good product sheets and information about melting points of solder and flow rates and you know, things like that. So you would think a company like Western Digital would be above making solder mistakes, but even Nvidia's not above making solder mistakes. Insert Kermit meme here.
I mean, sometimes too, it's like you have mistakes on something, and I mean, you produce 100,000 units of something before you catch it, you know?
Right.
It's like, and then it's a huge problem.
Yeah.
Not justifying it or whatever, but it's not like mistakes are uncommon. And
Right.
when you make mistakes at the scale of Western Digital or Nvidia, people are gonna find them.
Right. Yeah, as rigorous as a lot of industrial rigor testing is. So if you look at LTT with the labs, with some of the equipment that they have in now for testing extreme circumstances, or, you know, testing a key switch 1,000,000 times. The problem with those types of tests is you're testing it the exact same way every single time, and you're looking for a failure. What you're not doing, and this is just speaking of like a key switch, which is supposed to move. You're not testing deflection angles. You're not testing it from different points. You're not testing different pressures. All you're doing is you're actuating, and you're waiting for the mechanism in its expected use case to fail. Humans are anything but expected, though. And if your hand has a tilt to it and you strike the keys often from off angles, you're never top down like you should be. It's always a little bit curved. That can influence things and cause failures at a point in which your testing didn't predict. And that's even before we get into devices that shouldn't really be manipulated in different angles. They should simply be, you know, used and plugged in, not non-mechanical moving parts. You know, LG and Samsung testing their folding OLED phones, and they open it and close it the same way every single time. Well, what about a human who flips their thumb around to close it because that's the more comfortable way to do it? Is that going to provide more stress on the device hinge at a certain point and cause a premature failure based on their testing? Who knows? But you can't exactly test that exact circumstance.
Plus, this doesn't even take into account the possibility that perhaps some bean counter in corporate headquarters is like, guys, if we use 1 cubic micrometer less of solder on all of these joints, we can save $1 billion over 100 years. If we start now, we can save $1 billion by the year 2123. You know, that's what companies do. I just listened to 2 podcasts back to back about disasters caused by the megacorporation Union Carbide.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they've been causing mass corporate disasters for over 100 years, and they're still around. So, and it's all because they figured out that if they could just save a little bit of money on all of these legs of work, that it could equal huge profits.
Yep.
They've basically destroyed entire cities and killed thousands of people. And luckily, Western Digital doesn't have the capacity to do that, hopefully.
Right.
Just by messing up some solders, I don't think that they're poisoning India's water supply. But you never know, I guess.
No, that's up to Nestle.
Yeah. I guess if Western Digital was in charge of mining their own materials, then maybe we could count on them to cause some widespread disaster. But instead, it's just some bad soldering on their hard drives. One of the podcasts was about the Hawk Nest disaster. This is for David Ashwell. It was about the Hawk's Nest tunnel disaster, and that was on Behind the Bastards. And then the other one was about the Bhopal chemical plant explosion. Or was it an explosion? Anyway, the Bhopal chemical disaster in India. And that was on a podcast called This Podcast Will Kill You, which is like a epidemiology podcast. Very good. Both of them were great episodes. Nice. So if you're interested in that. Spoiler alert, nobody got in trouble for this. So
did you expect anyone to get in trouble for this?
Like you fingers crossed, it's like I spent so long believing in the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus that
unless a senator's daughter dies, no one's going to get in trouble for this.
Yeah. Yeah, no senator's daughters, just a lot of poor people.
And even then, as long as the senator made a cool 100 mil, the daughter's just expendable at that point.
Yeah, true. I think the senator could be bought off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great podcast, though. Learned a lot about how much money I could save if I could figure out some shortcuts around my house. If I could figure out the right shortcuts, I could save a lot of money.
In the last week, you get those reminders as a homeowner every so often that owning a home is very expensive and a pain in the ass to maintain. In the last week, I've had a gutter fall off the side of my house. I have had a tree limb about this big come down on the sidewalk in front of my house. And I sat down to go to the bathroom this morning, and my vent from my bathroom started dripping on my head. Because apparently the seal on the roof for the vent has popped a leak, and that is finding its way down the tube and then dripping through my vent. So that's also what I get to deal with this weekend, is all three of those things. So
I just had one where apparently when they rebuilt this house, because this house burnt down like 20 years ago.
Right.
When they rebuilt it, they used some copper pipes for the plumbing for the shower. And when they put on the faucet for the bathtub, they just sealed it. It's one of these ones that's just sealed closed with a little screw. Well, they sealed it so tight with this little screw that it poked a hole in the copper pipe. And it's been slowly leaking water back through that pipe and down into my basement for, apparently 20 years or something. Anyway, I found all the damage from that lately, so that's been exciting. Fixed the copper pipe, though, so that was the easy part. You don't want to know what 20 years of showers looks like.
Whew.
Just a tiny bit of water every time, but still.
Oh, and also one of the PVC fittings for my sump pump decided to back its way off in my side yard. And so my side yard is like underwater right now because instead of pumping the water to the street, it's pumping it into my backyard. So, yeah. Yay. Just when I think I have the sump pumps like dialed and I'm happy with them and everything else, and it's like, nope, screw you. Previous homeowner's still out to get you because he was an idiot.
It's amazing how they just let you do whatever you want to your own house, and then eventually it's not your house anymore.
And then eventually you sell it to the next guy, right?
It's kind of like how I remember thinking when I left the hospital with my child, and I remember thinking like, they literally let anybody do this, which is great, right? But then eventually that child grows up to be a person that goes into the world and interacts with other people's people.
And votes and...
they turn into
of
like
their own.
They turned into me, and I'm the little kid who's like telling you to go ask your mom what bad words mean.
Michael wants to know if I found that one light switch that doesn't turn anything on or off, as every house has one. I have two. I have one at the top of my stairs. There are 3 light switches at the top of my stairs in my split level house. One of them operates the downstairs light and the stair light. One of them operates the hall light, which is at the top of the stairs. The other switch operates nothing. Nothing at all. And I've opened the panel. Those wires are still connected to something.
Yeah. I had one of those where I thought it was a dud switch, but turns out it was old wiring that goes down to a lamppost that we weren't using and hadn't been used in 50 years, apparently.
Yeah.
Which now we got it to work. So we have a working switch.
Sweet.
Which is kind of neat, you know?
I do have a lamppost out at the front of my house, down by the sidewalk, but that is triggered by my porch light.
Right.
So that is on the same switch as my porch light.
Yeah.
Yeah. As 82 Celica says, that you know of. Right. I don't think it's doing anything. Maybe it's turning off my sump pump, and that's been the problem the whole time. I have one of those switches in my utility room. Actually, the other switch is in my utility room. There's a switch on the back wall. So when you walk into the room, there's a switch for the fan, and there's a switch for the light. And then on the far side of the room, there's another switch. And I say far side, it's like 4 feet away. There's another switch that you flick and does nothing.
That's painful.
Yep.
That triggers something deep down.
Yep.
Morty, did you just flip? Did I just hear an erroneous flip followed by a correction of the flip? I don't know what he says. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's kind of how it went.
Grab a shovel, Morty. I said grab a shovel.
What was that? The switch adds 200 millisecond audio delay.
That's probably what it does.
Bravo, Aaron. Bravo.
That's probably it.
Yeah, Jeff's house doubles as a pump station. Right. The voice actors are back. They never left. So I'm halfway through this. There's all 15% of it in there, maybe even a little more.
It's painful.
No, that's the opposite of painful. It's delicious. Let's see. Japan is reportedly bringing a kei-van to the States.
Ooh.
So remember a couple of months ago, we talked about a couple of new electric vehicles. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That I kind of wanted to see this type of vehicle redevelop in the States, because we've had microcars before in the States, but everyone kind of overlooked them in favor of, F-250s and, your 2-ton, haul anything trucks. I actually found this from a Reddit post, and one of the top posts was like, I can't wait for cars of this size to come back into style, because I don't need to haul 3 tons of lumber, 6 dogs, and an RV. I just want to be able to move a washing machine every once in a while. And you don't necessarily need a 3-ton truck to be able to do that. And I completely agree. Like, I have a 3/4 ton truck. I have a Ram 1500, and I have a tent trailer, which my van pulls just fine. I don't go off-roading. I don't do anything like that. The reason I have the truck is because sometimes I buy weird things like laser cutters that need to be picked up from a random truck dock in Corvallis, or, sometimes I go to PDX land and I need to be able to fit 5 or 6, chairs and a desk and a couple of computers in the back of my truck. I don't necessarily need the hauling capacity and the frame and the horsepower. I need the space, and that's it.
One what's crazy about the modern trucks, though, is even if you're driving a 1-ton behemoth around, most of them don't even have full-size beds.
No, they come with like 5-foot beds now, which is ridiculous. I have a 6'6" bed, which I love. I love the size of that bed. I wish it had an 8-foot bed, but you can't get an 8-foot bed with the quad cab. So if you have more than you and a passenger, screw you. You can't haul half the crap you want to haul anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. I don't know, man. You know, and somebody in chat saying, well, it's still in style in Japan. Yeah, well, people in Japan and people around the rest of the world, they're more concerned with functionality. I don't know what it is about the United States about why we're so concerned with appearances, especially when it comes to a vehicle that...
Well, you tell me, where in this van am I going to mount a gun rack? And I think I just hit the heart of American.
No, you put it right in the side. It's obvious. Think about horseback riding, for God's sake. Horses aren't made to carry guns, but we managed. We're Americans, damn it, Jeff. We'll figure out where to put the gun rack after we get the car.
It's very true. It's very true.
Look, there's clearly space on top. You reach out like this, out the window, up top.
You're completely forgetting the dash. Like, they make under-dash gun carriers and under-seat gun carriers.
I know they do, but you're talking about needing a long gun, okay? Like,
that's true. Yeah.
Put it, strap it right behind the driver's seat. I can see the perfect spot for it.
That's right. I mean, you could totally...
acting...
Can you imagine
like this is a problem we haven't solved 100 times before?
Can you imagine putting like a 5-gun rack and then taking this on a hunting trail? You and your buddies just jump out of the side.
Look, if it gets Americans to buy these dang things, I can imagine a whole heck of a whole lot, okay?
If this came in a camo print, do you know how much money it would make? D-brand, we need to get on this.
Look, I used to work at Sportsman's Warehouse, okay? And I knew a guy who brought a whole elk back in his Toyota Corolla. Mm-hmm. So don't tell me what's not possible. He mounted the rack on the hood of the car.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So don't tell me that Americans are worried about this.
James just said, I'm picturing an elk or deer rack just laying in the back of it.
Exactly, man.
Tell me where to mount a gun. Clearly the size of my granddad's Willie's Jeep. You tell me, Patton. My grandpa actually does have, he has a YJ, so a 92, 96 Jeep Wrangler. He has a rifle rack between the two center, between the two seats.
Of course he does.
Yeah.
I don't think that this is a problem that Americans need solved for them. Okay? You buy the car, you figure it out yourself. All right?
See, but I kind of like this style car.
I do too.
I don't know.
I see a future that I want to live in when I look at cars like this. You know what I mean?
I do as well. Because my issue is, I had a Nissan Frontier that I drove daily. That was my everyday driver. Until we found out we were going to have our third kid, and at that point, we had an aging Mazda CX-9 and said, I think we need a new car. We need something with sliding doors. We need a van. The CX-9, we can hold 2 kids, but to hold that we could hold 3 kids, but to hold that third kid, one of them has to climb over the seats, or you have to move them forward, which means you can't put 2 car seats in the middle row. You have to put 2 car seats in the rear row so you can move one of the seats forward to get access to that rear row. And we went, that's just not gonna work. And so we traded in my Nissan Frontier and we got a minivan. And the minivan's been great. But the idea was that, when the kids aren't in it, I can lay the seats down, and if I need to run to the hardware store, I can just make that run and do it just fine. The problem is the minivan still has seats in it, and the seats are in my particular minivan are not removable. They don't completely lay flat. It's a 2022 Toyota Sienna. The rear seats will fold flat, but the front seats are non-removable anymore without extraneous tools and effort. And so I couldn't fit lumber in the back of the car, where if I had an older van, if I had like an old GMC Sierra where you could just gut the back of it and have a flat floor, I would have been just fine. Yeah. But I went to go get lumber the first time. My van's old
Dodge Caravan, the seats just latched in and out. You could take them out easy.
But if I had an old van, I could have just removed all the seats and then laid whatever I needed to buy back there. But I made one trip with that van and I went, this isn't going to fly. It doesn't have the capacity that I need to be able to do stuff. And so ended up going out and buying my truck. Bought a 10-year-old truck, didn't go crazy and still got a killer deal on a 10-year-old truck. Man, if this was an option for the same, 12 to 15,000 that I paid for my truck, I'd have gone here. I really would have.
Yeah.
But it only does 300 miles on a charge. Do you know how often I drive over 300 miles? Once a year. And I have a van to do that.
300 miles is a luxury, man. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you about the Leaf.
Oh, and this one's solar, by the way.
Yeah. Well, my Leaf has a solar charger on it too, for the 12-volt battery.
Yeah.
12-volt battery? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To run the radio and the headlights.
Yes.
And it's the same battery since 2011. So, I don't know. Must be doing fine.
Yeah. Anyway, this van called the Puzzle from HWE in Japan is actually slated to make a North American appearance, where you might be able to buy this van and drive it on US streets. The worry is that they're going to try to spec it as a non-highway vehicle, which would limit it to 25 miles per hour. So it would get the same license and registration as a golf cart. The problem is this car will do 65. It won't do it very well, and I wouldn't rely on it to do that. But man, for a city-goer van, I wish we had more options like this. I really do.
Yeah. Well, especially now, the car market's so bizarre. I don't really understand it. I'm in the market for a new car. I think I have been for a couple months on this show, but it doesn't make any sense. I'm paying like 3 times more for the base model available at any car lot than I did, 10 years ago when I bought my last car brand new off a car lot. Is what it is, but the options are also so much more limited anymore too. Whatever. Is what it is. I would love to have stuff like this. That's the point. We're excited about it. And people get bent out of shape about range, but you're missing the point.
Yeah.
You're missing the point. This won't work for everybody. If you live in the middle of nowhere, yeah, maybe you do need more than 300-mile range, but yeah, this guy says, James says, don't visit Canada. 300 miles I do like at least 10 times a year. We have some serious distances between cities. Yeah, I mean, we do too.
Did you see I actually responded to that comment? I said, do you think Oregon is less do you think Oregon is any less rural and spread out?
What's funny is
and I'm not trying to be a jerk there. What I'm trying to say is we've got 3 major cities in Oregon. We have Portland, Eugene, and Salem in that order, and then we've also got Bend. All of them are 90 miles. You can make the entire trip in 90 miles between all 4 cities. Bend, you go to 120, you can do it.
Yeah, okay. Bend's like 126 miles from my house.
Right. But with a 300-mile range, you can go between any of those major cities round trip and back home.
Yeah. I mean, 300. I know I drive for a living in a lot of ways, and yeah, everything over here on the West Coast is very spread out. We're a lot like, but see, Canada, it's like the same thing. It's like, okay, you, like for us, it's like once you go east of the Mississippi, things become a lot more dense, a lot more close, a lot more
Mhm.
compact. West of the Mississippi, it's a whole lot of nothing until you get to the I-5 corridor. Um, and on the I-5 corridor, yeah, like where we are, we can get to Portland in an hour. We can get to Eugene in an hour. Bend is about 2.5 hours from my house.
But then what's the next stop east from Bend?
Yeah, right.
It's Boise, Idaho. Do you know how freaking far Idaho is from Bend?
It's very far. I one time had to do.
It's like
I was
7
working.
hours.
I was doing a job one time, and I started following this person. And
Not in a creepy way. Rett is a private investigator on
yeah,
on
that's
the
it's
side. You're right.
it's funny because it's like, how do I explain how I follow people? Yeah, anyway, I was following this person, and we left Portland, and I was like, where are we going? And anyway, we went to Moab, Utah, which is very far away. It was like 20 hours of driving. And I remember like when I got to Boise, Idaho, it had been like four. Well, I mean, you have Ontario like right there in Oregon, which is like,
Yeah.
Ontario is not huge by any means, but it's like, you got,
Ontario is the Vancouver to Portland.
yeah, you got like a movie theater, But like before that, it was like nothing for hours, and then we get to Boise. I was like, thank God I've reached the bastion of civilization. And then it's nothing for like another
Right.
8 hours. So that's the West Coast, baby.
Bend to Boise, Idaho is 349 miles, which means you could still almost do that with this car.
I think, and even then, there is, and see, James was saying in Canada they don't have the electric infrastructure. Now, my friend just bought a Tesla, and they have family in Ontario, and they say there is a charging station somewhere between Ontario and here where they can top off and make the trip, because I think they can like barely make it in one charge.
There's a couple of them.
Dicey.
I know there's one in Redmond. There's a fast charger in Redmond.
Right.
And I believe there's another one halfway between.
Right. So there you go. You're good to go. There was somebody from the Craft Discord that came to PDX Land and talked to me briefly when I was filling out. I was trying to use the ATM to get my parking money out, and it wouldn't work for some reason. And they were talking to me because they were like, "Did you bring up the Leaf or whatever?" And I was like, "Nah, I didn't bring the Leaf." And they're like, "Oh, we drove the." Can't remember what they said they drove. Sorry if they're listening, but I was like, "How was the drive?" And they're like, "Yeah, we had to stop for like an extended lunch and everything." I was like, "Well, not too bad, right? I hope." They're like, "No, not at all." I was like, "Great, see, electric cars, baby."
Was that Zeus?
Zeus, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Zeus is the only other person I know who has a Tesla. So,
yeah, I can't remember if it was a Tesla, but maybe it was. And then the gal that he was with was wearing the exact same jacket as me. So.
Oh no! That was. I know his real name, but I'm blanking on his Discord name.
I think it was Zeus. I think it was.
No, it wasn't Zeus. It was the guy who did the Xbox mod. The other guy who has the Xbox mod.
That wasn't him.
Really?
I've seen him. I've talked to him. Yeah, This was another guy.
Okay.
It was another guy I talked to for the first time.
It had to have been Zeus then.
See,
yeah, that was Zeus. Okay.
How does Skull know it was Zeus? Did this come up? Did this come up in the Discord?
I think it came up before. Specifically, the matching corduroy wool jacket.
It was the corduroy jacket, yeah. But I didn't mention that. This was just like last weekend. I didn't mention the wool jacket.
You missed
before.
the after show.
Did I? Because it came up. Okay, well.
It came up. Because it came up, right.
And I was around
the nights in Discord.
Okay, all right, fair enough. After party?
Yeah, Develop Hub says after party. Yeah, that's what I thought.
All right, whatever.
I know we've discussed this.
It's a whole world, apparently, that I just missed out on by not being at this after party.
Yep. If you want all the uncut, unedited content, join the Discord. Patreon link is down in the video description. Yes, my Discord is behind a paywall, but it is totally worth it. For only $1 a month, you get exclusive access to my Discord. Chat with myself, John, Rett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads. Join the awesome community that hangs out over there. We do a Secret Santa every year with beer. That's worth joining for that alone. Yeah, it's a great time. Cyber Voodoo, second beer, Dr. Dank Pineapple Dream by Wicked Weed Brewing, 6.7%. I love all of the words in that sentence. I love every single one of them. Novella Hub says you might even get Steve in a hot tub in the after party. That's right. I mean, you play your cards right, you'll get Rett too.
Did that happen?
It's happened before, yes.
Nice.
It didn't happen last week, but it's happened before.
Steve have a hot tub?
Yes.
Dang. Steve's just living the life, isn't he?
I know.
Yeah, Rett in the pool. My pool's closed down.
Yeah.
It's closed down for the winter. Next summer, maybe.
Yep.
Been trying to figure out how to get a hot tub at my place, but there was one here when I bought the place, but it wasn't functional. Couldn't figure out how to fix it. Too many issues. So I got rid of it.
Yep. Yeah, if you already have the electrical RAN, that's actually a big part of the expense is getting that 220 line RAN out there, 40 amp, 60 amp for whatever your hot tub will draw. So
it's run.
You should totally get one. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So I could be that friend.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, suddenly seeing a lot of you. What's going on, bud? Always got a towel and flip flops.
That's right. Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, I look at these like Costco hot tubs. They got the like inflatable ones. There was one when I was there the other day for like $3.99, but like there's no jets or anything, and so I just can't help but envision they're just like giant bathtubs, basically.
I have owned an inflatable hot tub. They're not terrible. The one I had did have a couple of jets that were piped in. So what they are is they're inflatable walls, very much like an inflatable pool and things like that. And then inside of them, they can run air channels for jets. And so, they're not the most ergonomic because you don't get like the sloped shapes and there's no feet jets or anything like that. But as far as like a nice thing to sit in, they're not terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had one a number of years ago in our last house. So
nice. Yeah,
ran on 110, so super easy to run.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a friend of mine had like a wood-fired hot tub, and that seemed really cool until like you wanted to use it.
Right.
Then it's
now you got to go stoke a fire for 12 hours.
Yeah, I guess so, right? I mean, I guess I don't know.
Someone just said AliExpress hot tub, and I never considered that, but if you type in hot tub to AliExpress, you actually get a whole slew of different options, from inflatable to hard-sided portable to single person.
Yeah, okay, wait a minute. Is this going to be a Craft Extra video?
It might be if I go screen capture.
Whoa! Wait a minute. It's not AliExpress.
Right?
Oh, boy. Some of these look really good.
Right? Like, I'm not gonna lie. I've been considering going out and getting another like inflatable hot tub for my backyard because I don't know if you know, but at 6'5", you don't fit into a bathtub very well. And there's been a number of times where I've wanted to sit in some hot water and I physically can't. As I get a little bit older. But
there's a really big bathtub here on the ones I'm looking at. So
is that the 153? There's one for $153. That's an inflatable single person.
No, that's not the one I was looking at, but I'm surprised at the number of options here.
Right?
God, I would have never thought to look here.
Neither did I, but here we are. Interesting. Here, I'll even screen share. I mean, there's like this one right here, which is a hard-walled.
Okay, that's.
Now, I don't think this is to scale.
No, this is clearly okay. So I had a whole range of emotions come through. That looks like an AI generated image almost too.
It really does, yeah.
I recently, so I get fed a lot of ads on Instagram, right?
Uh-huh.
And I've had a lot of luck buying clothes on Instagram. Jeff, you've seen some of your
baller threads.
Some of my baller threads. I've had some good luck with these. Your kids think they're cool and fashionable, which I think is all that matters. Is I'm hip with the kids. Well, so I found one. And there's no way to do this justice. I might just have to, after the show, put these in the Discord chat. Mm-hmm. But I found these threads, and I was like, holy crap, these look amazing. And it was on some website I'd never heard of, but I thought, well, I'm taking a gamble. They seemed to be marked down. And I was like, wow, I'm getting a deal here. Okay, maybe if I just buy a couple things, maybe I'll get lucky on one of them, right? Wrong. I'm 90% sure this website AI generated like 100 versions of their clothes. Mm-hmm. Then it took like 20 weeks for me to get anything. So it was like the AI generated all these things. I paid money for them. And I think they're like, okay, we have enough orders for this one now. And they sent me stuff that is not even close to what I ordered. Like,
You mentioned this on the show last time, and you showed like that lion sweater.
The lion sweater.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I really show that on the show?
You did.
Did you see the final version of it?
Uh-huh.
Oh my God. Well, I did a jacket too, and I thought, well, the jacket's not going to be that bad. The jacket is almost worse than the lion sweater.
I didn't see the jacket. All I saw was the lion sweater.
I'm like, if everybody saw the lion, it's enough. But I might have to get a picture of the jacket because the jacket is worse. I put it on. Not only is it like one of the cheapest, worst jackets I've ever
People
worn.
are chiming in. Yes, we remember the sweater.
Okay. Wow, I have no memory of this. And that was the episode I did sober.
Right.
All I remember is Rick and Morty, I guess. But oh my God, yeah. So you guys remember that was awful. Well, I got the jacket in after that, and it was so bad. And I think like when you go and look at all of them, the website, you guys can go look at it yourself. It's ccmom.cc. And all of their
Sounds
images
legit.
well, like I said though, I've had luck. All of their clothes look AI generated when you start looking into it.
Yeah.
Like none of them look real anymore. I don't know why. Like, I think I knew that I was kind of being not taken for a ride, but I knew that, well, okay. I don't know, man. Like, yeah, the jacket that I wanted to buy is right on the front page of this. and it looks nothing like this. The jacket that they shared is like a baller members only jacket with tons of colors. It looks like it's embroidered with lots of texture.
All right, which one are you looking at?
Right there, family matching. Go down. Go down. Under the right there, the blue one, family matching. Oh. Well.
Am I getting different suggestions than you?
No. It was in that ad. Oh, right there. Scroll up. There's the tiger sweater I bought.
Yeah, there's the tiger.
Doesn't look anything like that. Scroll up just a little bit. Okay, so that's not exactly it, but on the far left, that's kind of something that I bought.
Yeah.
Well, that looks... Whoa, see, that's what's crazy. So here's the thing. Back out, because this is what I got. That's what I got right there. There's no texture there. That's a flat print, right? But if you back up to the last page and you look at the ad that you clicked on, or not the ad, but the image that you clicked on to get here.
This one looks flat. I will say this one up here looks raised and embroidered.
Right, exactly. And so this is, in the image that you clicked to get to this page, it showed this jacket here and the other jacket, and they were textured. They were embroidered. There was layers to these things.
This looks so AI cool, because of the button placement right there.
Right. And see, once I started realizing that this is probably AI generated, I looked at a lot of the clothes, and there's just no way they're not, right? Like, press back one more time.
Oh, look at this one.
Right. Like, look at this. And it's like, even the shapes are just goofy enough and off enough. And it's like, it kind of looks cute. It kind of looks stylized when it's on clothes, right?
Yeah.
But look at that more closely. Like the bottom designs in particular, like that doesn't even... The way that the shadow is on the sleeve and everything, it's like leaning into that. Like they just don't make clothes like that. You know, it looks like stuffed animals sewed into these shirts.
It really does.
Like, I thought that was cool. I thought that was exciting. I was
well,
like,
I mean, there's
really
actually some overlap here. So what they're showing is a stuffed animal sewed into clothes.
And that tiger sweater I bought, there's texture on that tiger sweater in the image of it.
Yeah.
You know?
So here's the tiger sweater if you guys didn't catch this one last week.
Like,
it's actually folded over the top. There's
like whiskers. Look at those flowers, dude. Those flowers are gorgeous.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at the knitted neck on that. Like that, like it just looks cozy, even though... And I was thinking to myself, even if the tiger's not like those cool embroidered sort of flowers that are on there, like that could be neat. And I've taken some risks. I've seen the clothes that I bought, and they've all turned out pretty cool.
Financial was the least of your worries.
Right. But it's like, I don't know, man. It's, now when you look at it, it's like, ew, that's all AI generated. Like, it blows my mind a little bit. Like, I wish this is this doesn't really, but you could see, well, oh, God bless America. No. It's just a pop-up ad. But like you saw the flat version of this, and if this will focus on that, you can see like
it's actually got texture and detail.
Look at that. Yeah, it's like it's so different.
Yeah.
Anyway, I should go get it to show you guys, but I'm not going to do that. Everybody's suffered enough. Most of all me.
Yeah.
Skull says probably need craftcomputing.cc.
So, I have to say, this is my first time having a beverage in this class. I did like this class, and I can't wait to see what I can turn it into. I will be making a nucleated glass out of this glass, and hopefully as early as next week, this will be on craftcomputing.store. So if you're looking for a stout glass, keep me in mind. For right now, I think I'm going to open my second beer, since we're at 7:30 and the first one was only 15%. Drecker Brewing Cuddle Buddy.
And there you go.
Freaking love the can art. Holy crap. The can art and the name. Oh, and boop.
Ooh, yeah.
The Reaper booping. Boop. Yeah, it's great.
Love it. That looks fun.
8 point, or no, was this 8 or was this 6? This was 6 point something. It's on here somewhere. Hold on. Anyway, it's an IPA. Slow Hardware wants to know if I would play around with Peltier cooling. I've considered doing some stuff with Peltier. I've done a lot of weird things. I've done a whiskey cooled PC. I've done a 100% complete custom chassis. I've done an Xbox PC. Yeah, of course. I've considered doing things with Peltier. I haven't gone out and purchased Peltiers, simply because I don't know where or why I'd use them at this point in time. The problem with Peltier cooling is it requires as much power into it as you dissipate heat out of it. And it still requires a heatsink of some kind. And so all you're doing is you're moving the heat from one location to another. You're not eliminating the heat. So if you want to make a chiller with Peltiers, totally a thing you could do. Although they make chillers for that very reason. So whiskey cooled PC. Wait, go back. Was that on this channel? That was on this channel. That was an early episode of this channel. One of my first 100 videos that I did. One of my first 60 videos that I did. But yeah, no, I did a whiskey cooled PC. And it was great.
Yeah, I got a link for it.
You got a link? It'll probably block you because
No. I'm a mod.
You're a mod, but oh, there you go. Okay, cool. Yep, benchmark with benchmark. This also turned me off to this whiskey in particular. So this is benchmark number 8. The bottle is made in the style of Jack Daniel's Old Number 7. And it's a clear ripoff of a Jack Daniel's bottle, which is kind of why I bought the bottle. And also I saw that it was... I didn't see that it was called Benchmark when I bought it. I simply went, there's the whiskey bottle that I'm looking for, and it's $11. I didn't want to spend $15 or $20 on a fifth of Jack to test this. I wanted to spend as little money as possible on a bottle that was stereotypical whiskey. And so I went out and I bought this bottle from the whiskey shop, and then I came back and I went, it's called Benchmark. And it's from McAfee's. It's McAfee's Distillery, Benchmark number 8.
No, that's too perfect.
I repeat that to this day. That was completely unintentional, but oh my god, so good. Whiskey will cool your PC. It's not a good idea. There are so many bad things that come from using alcohol-based coolants. It's not a good idea, but it did work. Yeah, there goes your gaskets. There's issue number 1 is ethanol eats away at any and all rubber gaskets. Any gasket that you have inside your cooling loop, whether it's the fittings, whether it's the tubing, whether it's the O-rings, ethanol will destroy it. So it's a bad idea. Number 2, alcohol boils at 78°C, which is a totally reasonable temperature to observe inside of a water loop. Inside of a closed system water loop where individual computer components are expected to hit 78°C, which means you're going to be off-gassing ethanol, which means you're going to be building pressure. And even in the short time that I ran this water loop, I ran it for less than 24 hours. I had already built a substantial amount of pressure. I didn't put a gauge on it, but when I turned the valve on the reservoir, it went psst, like it let off something. Yeah, it's the lower boiling point of ethanol. And people go, well, you mixed it with water. Why would it be? No, ethanol boils at 78°C. And in a mixture, ethanol will boil even in a solution. It's not until only 5% ABV that you will start also boiling water with the ethanol. Other than that, ethanol will boil at 78, and any additives or dilution will not boil until 100°C. LOL, moonshine making PC. Basically, that's what I was doing minus the distillation. I was using a PC to boil ethanol. I wasn't collecting the distillate, but that's what it was doing.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And as all of you know, with boiling off ethanol, you're boiling off 100% alcohol vapor, which can catch fire at a surprisingly low temperature. So that's issue number 3, is you're playing with literal fire when you're doing this. But it was a really fun experiment.
Yeah, it's funny going back and reading some of the comments for that video.
I haven't gone back and read those comments in so long.
Yeah, it's interesting. Some people are good-spirited, other people are not so much, but you know how YouTube comments are.
Yeah. The only reason I haven't used beer for cooling is because literally a month before this, Jay's 2 Cents did it first. Also, a week after, so Jay's 2 Cents was doing the Post Malone build at this time. And I believe about a month beforehand, when I was thinking about, like, let's do something weird with an AliExpress cooling loop, Jay's 2 Cents posted a video where he was building the Post Malone machine, and he went ahead and poured Bud Light into the PC and cooled the PC with Bud Light. And I went, I can't do that now. I can't make a video in which I'm just copying one of these other YouTubers. Whether it was my own idea or not, whether it's channel identified or not, I'm freaking Craft Computing. Are you telling me I can't make a beer cooling video? No, the comments would eat me alive. It sucks. So I decided to take my AliExpress loop and cool it with whiskey. Also, I had some insider information that the week after, Linus Tech Tips was doing an AliExpress cooled PC. And so I wanted to get out in front of that and showcase all the AliExpress parts that I had bought to cool my PC with whiskey before they published their video. So that was a whole thing as well. Yeah, the life of a YouTuber.
I thought we were so cool in high school when we figured out, like, we built like a fish tank PC filled with like vegetable oil.
Did you do mineral oil? Yeah.
We did vegetable oil, actually, which is probably worse, but probably worse. It was worse, but
probably no, it was.
Back then, there were a lot more moving parts on PCs, though. I had the hard drive out.
I hate oil-cooled PCs. I'm just gonna say it. The benefit is not, like, the juice is not worth the squeeze.
It was fun because we came up with the idea on our own, like seemingly in a vacuum. You know, I mean, it's like the science was there or whatever, but it was like,
right.
It was like, how could we just overclock the crap out of this stuff? And we're like, well, you know, wouldn't it be cool to do like a water-cooled PC, but like everything is water-cooled?
Well, what if we just took things and put them into a liquid?
And then it was like, but water doesn't even conduct as much, you know, heat, man. We need something more.
You know, my car runs on oil. What if? I'm just spitballing here, but what if?
Maybe I saved vegetable oil. Maybe it was just mineral oil. But I thought it was cooking oil that we used, to be honest, which doesn't really make much sense. But
yeah. I mean, cooking oil would do the same effect, and is actually probably a lot less expensive than mineral oil.
Maybe okay, so maybe
I'm sure there's probably a reason that vegetable oil isn't used, because mineral oil is usually what you would use if you want to do a full submersion PC. Although now they have actual fluids meant for full submersion cooling. They have Novec and they have a couple other industrial coolants that are much lower viscosity than oil. That can be used for conductive cooling.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought we were pretty cool. And it feels like it makes more sense even with like NVMe drives and stuff these days, because it's like half the PC when we built it had to be out of, we couldn't submerge the hard drives, we couldn't submerge the graphics card.
You could have submerged the graphics card. That was totally on the table. The only thing you couldn't
you're
have
right.
submerged,
We removed the fan.
Yeah,
we removed the fan.
only thing you could even submerge the fan and have it run, and yeah, you can do that. The only thing that would be an issue back in those days would have been the hard drive. You cannot submerge a hard drive.
God, maybe this was 17 years ago.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. Oh, vegetable oil will go rancid after time. That's probably why, and especially
sense.
under heated circumstances. Whereas mineral oil will run indefinitely because it's a pure petroleum product rather than an organic product.
Mm. Yeah, but then you can't use it to make French fries afterwards. So, did we do that? Doubtful. Pretty sure we just poured it in the trash afterwards, but...
Could we do a full circle of life where we do... hold on, follow me here. Where we do a PC that's submerged in vegetable oil. We cool it. We use that oil to deep fry some French fries. And then we take the off-cut oil and we power a diesel truck. Could we go full circle of life?
Why not?
These are the ideas that keep me up at night.
Morty, this is an entire universe I created to power my car.
That's what you use our universe for? To power your car?
Well, actually, your universe is just my radio, but
that's okay. There's always AAA. Did Stephen Colbert have the best guest appearance on Rick and Morty? I posit that he probably did.
Was that episode?
That was that episode. Yeah, that was Stephen Colbert that played that guy, the big brain dude.
Really?
Inside the Teenyverse, Microverse, Miniverse.
I always thought that was like David Cross for some reason, but David Cross is in the other one.
Yeah.
Where they have to go into the shower and get naked because they won't watch them in the shower.
Right. No, it was Stephen Colbert played the Miniverse architect. Yeah.
Good for him. Yeah, that's a good cameo.
A microverse.
Oh, geez. Here we go, Morty.
Name.
Come on, Rick. I masturbated to a piece of driftwood the other day.
You're smart. You'll figure it out. Happy Ricksgiving, biatch! Your people have a holiday called Ricksgiving. Morty, I told him it means peace among worlds. How hilarious is that? Oh yeah, the John Oliver episode was also pretty good. He was the theme park director.
Oh, in the first season?
Yeah, first season.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to Anatomy Park. Yeah, that was John Oliver.
Anatomy Park, yeah. Yeah, season 1 was all right.
Season I mean, it's no pretty good.
It's no vat of acid, but
yeah.
Never letting that go.
Nope, can't. We do have a little bit of news, so let's go ahead and bite the hand that feeds us. YouTube. I think Jeff misses Rett in the office. I do. I miss this back and forth. This is fun. YouTube. Obviously, there's been ad gate, if you want to throw gate at the end of every controversy as of late, where YouTube is trying to block any and all ad blockers. And in fact, it was recently announced that Chrome in the first half of 2024 will stop allowing ad blockers on their platform as extensions, which has kind of been a talking point for a while. Chrome at one point was supposed to disable all extensions and make them obsolete, but there was some pushback on that from various companies. And so now they're just going to block ad blockers in general. Which, as a company, makes sense. You're the maintainer of a browser. That browser feeds people to YouTube. YouTube thrives on ads. Your revenue is dependent on ads. Why would you allow an ad blocker onto your own platform? It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Why didn't we see this written on the wall? But apparently, YouTube is going to get a lot worse if you don't turn off your ad blocker, as if it already hasn't. With you're using an ad blocker, you can watch 3 videos until we kick you entirely. So a YouTube spokesperson said that using ad blockers could lead to a, quote, suboptimal viewing experience.
Oh,
what does that mean? That means if you use an ad blocker, they're going to lower your resolution. They're going to make it a terrible experience. They're going to force other ads on you that convince you to buy YouTube Premium. Which, by the way, as a YouTuber, I'm kind of behind YouTube Premium. I get more ad revenue per click than I do off of regular ad revenue, and regular ad revenue sucks in general anyway. So go get YouTube Premium. And I know it's a lot of money. I know it's $15 now or something like that.
I mean, drop your $20 Netflix subscription and get YouTube.
Right. But yeah,
that's what I did.
Ads are a vital lifeline for our creators that helps them run and grow their businesses. That's why the use of ad blockers violates YouTube's terms of service. First off, if you were paying me more than 30%, it would definitely constitute more of a hitch of my business. The problem is it's a hitch in your business.
I love how the idea is, ads are a big part of our creators' business. Yeah, creators are a big part of your business, you freaking piece of...
Here's the conundrum. Okay. YouTube ad revenue makes up about 25% of my overall revenue. The problem is the other 75% is dependent on my ads, on my content being visible on YouTube. It's because of the viewership that I get on YouTube that I'm able to run ads within my video. I'm able to generate other revenue sources, affiliate links, etc. Because without people clicking on my video and getting recommendations for products to buy, they don't click on affiliate links and go buy products of which I get a cut of. Without people clicking on my video, you don't get fed my very clever and often very funny in-video ad reads, and companies are going to pay less for those if there's not as many people clicking on them. So while I would love to be totally independent from YouTube and switch to like Patreon or something like else, the fact of the matter is Patreon isn't going to serve up the number of people who need to receive the ads that I read in my video to make my business model financially stable. That's the long and short of it. Would I love for there to be a YouTube competitor? Sure, I would. I've thought about posting my videos on Pornhub and seeing how that does. Because that's about the only other video source, the video host, that gets the same number of views as YouTube does.
I don't know, man. Vimeo. You know what I'm saying? Let's make Vimeo a thing.
AliExpress affiliate links, 75% of revenue. No, but they are a significant percentage. AliExpress, probably about 10 to 15%. They're below YouTube. They're lower than YouTube, but higher than you might expect. Amazon affiliate, about equal to YouTube, maybe just under, maybe just sitting at like 20% or so. Honestly, Patreon and in-video ad reads are my 1 and 2 ad revenue sources, or ad revenue sources per source. Revenue streams per source. There we go. Those are the words I'm trying to put in the right order. It sucks. The whole situation sucks. As YouTube presses further and further, does Epos Vox post on Pornhub? Epos Vox is a verified creator on Pornhub, which is a fact that I just love. Yes, he does. If creators don't start posting on other platforms, there will never be an alternative. The problem is, name me another source that is worth my time.
That's the problem. Is like
it's a chicken and egg situation, and I fully admit that.
It's tied to people's livelihood, so it's not as easy to just switch. Like you can post on other platforms, but if it doesn't pay, if it doesn't do anything, it's money out of your pocket at the end of the day. Time is money. It's a lot of effort to get a video up on a platform. And you could argue that, like, well, posting it up on Pornhub takes the same amount of effort and time as posting it up on YouTube, especially after all the editing is done. But, like, that's a whole other ball game. It's a whole other thing of metrics you're tracking. You're doing all this. Like, it's got to mean something. It can't just be something you're throwing to stick at the wall and hope someday that, like, well, everybody, all of YouTube is going to move to Pornhub. Like, I don't know. You get to a point, it's just not as simple as that. Like, I agree. Yeah. I agree. It's kind of like saying, like, well, if people don't vote for a third party will never be viable. And it's like, well, there's more problems than that.
Right.
It's a systemic issue. It's not just because people don't vote third party.
The problem is you all have to do it at once or it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, you can vote third party if you want, but understand you're only ever going to get 2% of the vote for your chosen candidate because the other 48 and 48 are arguing over the other two. So unless you all do it at once, it's never going to happen. We also have a system where it's not just the person with the most amount of vote, it's the person with 50% or more gets the nod. And so you can't have 5 different parties and the person with 16% wins because they had the majority of the vote. You have to have 51%. That's it. The system is designed to be a two-party system. You can't be on the ticket unless you have a nomination from a party. It's designed to be a two-party system.
Yeah, there's not really any YouTube alternative. I mean, I joked about Vimeo, James, and there's some things, like, I know a lot of, like, short film creators use Vimeo for some reason that I don't quite understand. I think it has to do with, like, compression and
slightly better compression at 1080p.
Yeah, I think that's, like, the primary reason.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not. Yeah, see, and I like this. Harley McClure is saying ranked choice. You could vote third party, then pick your. And it's like, yeah, if ranked choice was an option, that would totally solve it. Again, that's why I'm saying it's like a systemic thing. The YouTube thing is the same way. It's like, everybody's on YouTube because there's nothing better, and everybody being on YouTube is making YouTube the choice. It's making it powerful. It's making YouTube more powerful and making it more difficult to leave. But there's literally no other option.
Right. I disagree with a lot of what YouTube does as far as injecting ads and the types of ads and the moderation of ads and a lot of YouTube's policies in general. But it's the only place that I can operate my business and be successful. Period. If I had 10 million subscribers, maybe I could say something different. But with 300,000 people, unless all 300,000 wanted to pay me $1 a month and move my business elsewhere, hell, I'd take 10 cents a month from 300,000 people.
Well, where do all these guys that got kicked off of YouTube go that, like, talk about, things?
A lot of them went. I mean, there's a couple of alt-right video platforms.
Yeah, where'd they go?
There.
Why don't we have a video platform?
Right.
But I guess there is. I mean, that's the thing. Like, Floatplane, I guess, is trying to be something like that. But I don't know. Yeah, it's just is what it is. You got to play ball,
Yeah. Honestly, if I can get a commitment tomorrow that all 322,000 subscribers would pay me 10 cents per month, I'd start self-hosting my videos tomorrow. Give me 10 cents. Give me 10 cents. Every viewer, give me 10 cents per month.
Yeah. That'd solve a lot of problems, wouldn't it?
I'd make 6 times what I do now. Like, easily. So I'd self-host my content. I'd make it available to download. I'd push it to your Plex library automatically. There are ways I can sling out enough data to make that happen. I pay you $1. The problem is only like 800 people pay me $1. I don't know if you've realized, but housing costs a lot more than $800 per month right now. YouTube also gives me about $1 for, and not even per subscriber.
Yeah. That doesn't mean that $1 isn't much needed or much appreciated. It just means that if all 300,000+ subscribers.
Yeah. But could you could you build the infrastructure to support it? For that amount of money, for 10 cents per subscriber per month of what I have, that's about $32,000 per month. That is way more than I'm making right now.
Good Lord.
Okay. Rett, you'd be back at double pay, okay? Like, we could make that happen.
Yeah, can you guys get on the horn with all 300,000 other subscribers and make this happen, please?
Right. But for that amount of money, I could absolutely self-host all my content or put it up on any number of hosting sites and make it available and make it streamable. And totally. Are you guys willing to put up 10 cents? I know the people watching probably are.
I mean, for that amount of money,
but there's only 102 people watching.
We might almost be able to just broadcast it through the air. And
I bet for $32,000 a month, I could buy the local ABC affiliate.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Just beam it through the air. Isn't that how people used to? Wasn't that a thing? You could get your software programs by like downloading them from radio waves. I mean, I guess that's what Wi-Fi is, right? But I mean, like even before that, like in the 80s, even it was like
I don't know about in the 80s. In the 90s, there were a couple of different systems in place to get data either over the air or via cable connection. Sega TV and Nintendo TV were both things where you could download full games to your console, store them in a flash memory card, and be able to play them based on your subscription service.
Nice.
These were official platforms from Nintendo and Sega both. Sega was available in the States for a short time. Nintendo only ever launched in Japan. But yeah, both of those were totally viable services where you would subscribe to Nintendo or Sega TV. You would get TV service and games.
Yeah. I don't know, man. The world was exciting back then. Hey, our first super chat of the night.
Hey, Daryl, 2 Aussie bucks. Thank you very much. 2 AUD is the YouTube default. Remember when you used to super chat for 50 cents? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Nintendo's was the satellite view, or the Satellaview. Yeah. There are actually games that have been lost to time because of that distribution service. Because unless you download it, like there was a, I don't want to call it a mod, but that's what we would consider it today. There was a version of A Link to the Past that was heavily modified on a subscription-based service from Nintendo, where you would download new map packs for Link to the Past, and you could play new Zelda games every week. And there were like 12 of them that were released.
Yeah, see, 666 whatever there says there were some, quote, radio-based text data options way back. Can't remember if it was shortwave or CB or what.
Yeah, I seem to remember some things coming basically in like a recordable cassette format where you could run the code on a BBC Micro or a Commodore 64 or something like that. I know there was probably a pirate setup like that.
There was somebody on my Game Dev podcast way back who was talking about like some of the first software that he would fiddle with was stuff that he had collected from like radio waves, but I don't remember what that was or what he's talking about. I might have to go back and listen. Anyway,
if you guys want ad-free craft computing for the rest of eternity, get all of my subscribers to donate 10 cents per month. 10 cents a month, which I'll probably need to charge you a transaction fee of like 13 cents to make the credit card company happy, but
no,
25 cents a month.
Just put it in the post. Post it.
Yeah, I'll run ad free for the rest. Like, that's
Just
what it would
put
take, though. Is it would take 10
Put a
cents
dime
a
or
month
a quarter in an envelope and mail it.
for just 48 cents. Yeah.
69. Well, maybe
How
mine
much
are
is a
forever
stamp
stamps.
now? Right.
I don't know. Can't remember. I just mailed the letter for 69 cents, and I don't know if that
For
was
just
like
10
marked
cents a
up or
month,
not.
you can feed a Rett. I've thought about this a lot. You know, like, I would love to be fully independent. I would absolutely love that. I would love to be able to not have to post my content on YouTube. I would love to be able to just post my content to people who are passionate about it. But the reality of the situation is, how would people learn about it? Yeah, 10 cents a month with a 3-year commitment. I'd be totally down with that.
Discord only videos.
Yeah.
I think we've solved it. This is
Yeah.
the way to go.
I mean, at that point, I probably would just post my videos on Vimeo. Use them as the hosting platform.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Elmo chimes in, $10. Thank you very much, good sir. While we wait for everyone to send the $1, everyone should go to the store and get a pint glass. It will make your beer taste 20% better. I fully agree. I'm using one right now.
Nice. Tasty, tasty nucleated beer. It's chemistry at its
streaming
finest.
by Yocto, and Yocto says oof. Or no, that was Zachary Schuff.
Oh yeah,
Yocto says he'd do it. I mean, yeah, like if I had 10 cents a month from every subscriber, I could do literally whatever I wanted. I could do whatever I wanted. I could do anything. You want me to review, the latest Sapphire Rapids? I'll go buy it. Like, what do you want to see? The problem is, at current income levels, I'm bound to play the algorithm until I'm not. But even then, I'm still bound to advertisers. Like, I still have a house to pay for. I still have kids that are growing. I still have school. I still have medical bills, which are, good God, medical bills. Like, there's a lot, like, I'm still a person with a life, with a family, with everything else. And, yes, I live this YouTuber life, and Supermicro sent me a server to review, but that server has to go back. And I don't know if you know, but my family can't eat silicon.
Well, and then the stuff that doesn't need to go back, that's still work, that's still brain drain, that's still space drain. It's like the stuff that doesn't go back still piles up. And at a certain point, it's like, what a problem to have, right? But at the same time, like, I think people underestimate that.
It's a weird mindset that people just don't get. That, oh, Zotac sent you a video card. Of course you're going to like it. It's work. It's I get to work at the Ferrari dealership, but my job is detailing wheels. Like, yeah, my games play a little faster, and maybe I don't have to buy that particular video card. It's still freaking work. There's still 20 to 40 hours per video that goes into each and every video that I produce. It's a lot of work, and I'm sorry, but I can't be bought with hardware. If you give me a video card and your video card's crap, I'm still going to tell you it's crap. So.
Well, we got people pouring in their support here, so we got Elmest, right? We got.
I got
Elmest. Bob Smith, 1999, his 1 year. 1 year. No, his first super chat on a live stream ever.
That's right.
For 1999, I'm now good for a few years. It won't let me make it an even 20. Well, that right there, that's. We appreciate it. I'm sorry that YouTube makes making an even 20 so difficult, but
thank you, Bob. I appreciate it.
We'll put it to good use. Novell Hub chiming in. Member for 39 months.
63 months.
Oh. No. That's somebody else.
Oh, sorry. Skull. You missed Skull.
Yeah, Skull is 63 months. I'm doing my part.
Yeah.
Novella Hub, 39 months. Michael, 14 months. Go for it, he says. And then James chiming in with some great white northern dollars. Thanks for a fun night. Here's towards the next strong beer, at least. Oh, and also his first super chat. We got 2 people breaking their super chat cherries tonight. So doesn't get better than that. That's why this community is great. Thanks for chiming in, everybody. Thanks
what
for
are
your
those
help.
little blue dots on Rhett's camera? You have some kind of like ball light.
Yeah. I don't have a way of. I don't have anything to. Yeah, it's a light though. It's yeah. Wait a minute. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah. Now your hands are disinfected.
Yeah. It's the lights slowly move. It's one of these. Yeah.
It's one of
I'll
those.
Just unplug it.
Geodesic crystal. Yeah. Projector. Yeah.
So it's
skylights.
One of these.
Yeah.
I thought it would just look cool to have in the background, but it actually ended up getting on my face more than I thought it would. So, but it's pretty cool. It was like a few bucks.
Yeah. Nice.
So
it's those people who can't bother putting up Christmas lights every year. They just buy
kind of. It's really only good for like, I don't know, like being a basic Twitch streamer, or it's nice to point at your ceiling when you're having like a chill room or whatever. But
Vince chiming in with $5.
This is his first super chat, Vince.
He gives in other ways. Yes, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles playing on the cabinet behind me. For those who noticed.
He said something about TMNT earlier, and I forgot to.
Yeah, it's the. I have the ROM of the TMNT 4-player cabinet running on a loop back there.
Nice. Nice. Turtle power.
That's right.
Allison with £2.
£2 sterling.
Raid is better than no backup. Okay, well.
Raid is better than no backup so long as you understand the risks and implications of only running a raid and not properly backing up your files. That is 100% correct.
Lots of first super chats tonight.
Thank you, everyone.
You guys are ballers.
Yeah. Do I let them know the downside of super chatting on YouTube is that YouTube still takes 30% of every super chat? So, as much support as you're showing me right now, and I genuinely, seriously, legitimately appreciate every single one of you, YouTube got a 30% cut of all those. That's the world I live in, is even when there's an outpouring of support, there's bills to pay on this platform.
Yeah, what are you going to do, though?
Yeah. You guys are all amazing, and I sincerely appreciate you.
Well, without you, there is no craft computing, guys. So.
Right. Yes, pre-tax. YouTube takes a 30% cut, and I get to pay taxes on the remaining 70%. That's how that works. Yeah, Twitch takes 50%. Right, YouTube's only 30%.
Bob Smith says NBA Jam is greater than TMNT.
I had NBA Jam running on there for quite a while. It is on there. Yeah.
I had the NBA Jam guy do the intro to my game dev podcast.
Yeah. Nice. Yes, that's right. You did. Remy sends over $10. I will definitely throw $5 towards the self-hosted craft computing plan. Been a patron since the Wednesday you announced you were going full-time on YouTube. Let's go. Yeah. What's Patreon's cut? Patreon takes 8%. And is it the best cut I could receive? No. The best cut I could receive is literally the cost of doing business, which is about 3% to credit card holders. And the best way to do that is directly through PayPal. But PayPal, subscription models, and PayPal in general they've been a little sketchy on business dealings, especially when it comes to like self-hosted content creation. So I don't necessarily know that I want to go that way entirely. Patreon takes 8%, but they also have so many API related to Discord access and some other benefits that I don't mind doing business with Patreon. It makes it worth the while. Although Patreon, when they ousted all of the adult content workers, kind of soured a lot of relationships. But yeah. Is Stripe the same as PayPal? Stripe is owned by PayPal, if I remember correctly. Buy pint glasses, it's the best way. Literally, all of you go buy merch right now. This is my highest profit item. Or anything on my merch store is pretty high profit for me. I own the means of production, and the means of production are paid off. So at this point, it's stock in and profit out. That's how this industry works now. So buying merch, craftcomputing.store, fantastic way to help support the channel. If I could come up with a platform where someone could give me 10 cents and get access to my videos, or hell, 25 cents. The problem is I don't think I could do it for less than $1 because credit card companies still need to make theirs. And no one will do your transactions for free. So unless you could, like, ACH transfer me 10 cents per month, it makes it really difficult to only take 10 cents from 322,000 people. So if you could all just come to my house and give me cash... I'll have craft video and take my cut in video cards. Would PeerTube be a decentralized YouTube alternative, perhaps? The problem is anyone going to watch on PeerTube? Am I going to get the numbers on PeerTube? Are the same amount of people going to see my content on PeerTube? I love the idea of PeerTube. I love the idea of decentralized, generalized hosting video content. But the reason I'm able to make this a business is because I sell pre-roll ads to companies that want to reach out to my audience, and there has to be an audience. Otherwise, those ads don't sell. So while I've done a really good job desegregating my content or my income stream from being dependent on YouTube ad revenue, like I said, YouTube ad revenue makes up less than 25% of my total revenue right now. It's still not enough to pay all of the bills that I have. And like I said, if you want to know what would make it, 10 cents of every subscriber, I will do whatever you want on camera. You want cat ears every week? I'll wear cat ears every week. Give me 10 cents per subscriber.
Pickle beers. Pickle beers.
This gig has to be a tax nightmare. Yep. Does Rambo have his own channel yet? Not yet. Yeah, good point. Probably much less reach on those platforms, and that's the issue. Is while my revenue doesn't directly require YouTube, the price that I charge per pre-roll integration requires the audience that YouTube provides. It's a double-edged sword. If you all have an idea and you can get 320,000 people to, number one, even freaking see a post that I'm going to say, I'm going to move all my content over here and it's self-hosted from now on and please pay me 10 cents. I'd be totally game. But the problem is if I post something on YouTube, 5% of my subscribers see it. And that's the reality of the game.
You gotta move to Facebook, bro.
Yeah.
That's where all the numbers are at.
What's the deal with getting on something like Nebula and the way they pay creators there? Nebula is a creator-owned entity, and I know some creators who are working on cutting ties with Nebula because they don't like the way it's run.
Is Epos Vox on Nebula?
Epos Vox is on Nebula.
You can tell I've been watching a lot of Epos Vox lately.
Scotty Strange Parts is on Nebula. There's a bunch of creators on Nebula, and some of them aren't all that enthused with the pay distribution, with the buy-in, buy-out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are pickle beers 20 cents per review per subscriber? I mean, if Rett were back in studio, he'd drink all the pickle beers. So if you want pickle beer reviews, we could make that a dedicated post.
Just me drowning alive in pickle beers.
Yeah.
I'm like the party guy from Slurms McKinsey from... but it's just pickle beers.
I was going with the Tom Green, but the version from Family Guy. Do you all like me yet? Can I stop this? Boy, those are some old references at this point. You definitely need a VPN sponsor, maybe Mulvad VPN. I have a couple of VPN companies that I've talked to and that I've said, yeah, I'll run ads for you guys.
Also, didn't we do Mulvad once?
I have never actually ran an ad for a VPN company. I've ran ads for VPN adjacent, but never a VPN provider. Yep. Post elsewhere. Could the channel grow at all? That's the problem. So, I'd love to decentralize my content. I think that's the next big move for content creators like me. How do you do it? How do you actually get the money to you? Because if I want people to sign on it, the problem is I have 322,000 subscribers. I have 892 patrons, give or take. 892 patrons, which I charge per video per month. And I make somewhere between $2,500 and $3,500 per month, depending on my video post schedule. $2,500 covers my mortgage. Covers absolutely nothing else. There's not a single other expense that Patreon covers. Patreon pays for my house. It pays for me to be here. Doesn't even pay for the lights to be on. I can't even say that anymore because my electric bill is like $200 a month.
And they just, well, dang, you're not on the same utility, but they just approved like a 17% increase on my utility. So looking forward to that.
Yeah.
That's huge.
I feel like the only move away constructively is to go the route of a consultant. I've thought about moving into consultancy. It's been something I've seriously considered. This last year has been an absolute struggle. Cost of living has been insane. I went down as a treat this morning with my daughter, and I got a dozen donuts. A dozen donuts cost me $16. My wife and my middle child are also gluten-free, so I went to a bakery in downtown Salem that specializes in gluten-free donut holes. I spent
Big wigs.
I spent $40 on donuts this morning as a treat for the next 2 mornings for my family. I spent $40 on donuts this morning. Think about that. Think about that statement. Where moving to full-time was definitely the right move at the right time, the cost of living over the last 3 years has made that less and less such a good idea. Like, I've considered going back to the workforce. I've considered a number of different things, simply because even though my income is at a level that it's never been before, Like I'm making more money than I have before. I also have so many more expenses than I ever had before. And Rett, I don't know if we ever officially announced you don't work for me anymore because I couldn't afford you.
Yeah.
It has not been a kind year, and even less kind. I got kicked in the teeth with taxes this year. I've talked about this on the after party, but not necessarily in a live stream format. It's been a difficult year. It's been a very difficult year. So yeah, if you all have any idea of how like I can get a one-time 10-cent, donation-a-thon, that would make
Yes.
a lot of problems go away.
Somebody mentioned, Jeff, you just reinvented the March of Dimes.
I mean, basically, yes.
Yeah. Well, it reminds me of that story of that kid who ran the ad in the newspaper, and he was like, "You can pay for my college tuition if everybody just sent me a quarter or a dime or something like that." And
Right.
it was like he made enough money to like pay helpers to help him open envelopes and literally remove change from envelopes and still cover the entirety of his college tuition.
Right. Right. Yeah. The problem is, how do you charge people only a dime? Because if you charge a dime, the credit card companies don't want to move that money because they want their 5%. They can't charge a half a cent on a transaction.
No.
It makes it very difficult for them to do that. So typically credit card companies want at least 25 cents per transaction, which is why if you run a debit cards are between 35 and 50 cents per swipe. That's the transaction fee, which is why if you go to a corner market, they say, sorry, we charge 50 cents for any transaction under $5, so they can pay for the transaction fee. How do you do that for 10 cents? Send me 10 cents, but also send the credit card company 50 cents to cover that transaction. Cool. I'm now making 20% of your transaction. That's a worse deal than YouTube, for crying out loud.
You obviously need to you need to start your own digital payment platform.
Mm-hmm. So, and the problem is, I'm talking to 108 people, 90% of which are probably on my Discord already. It's
It's
reach
gonna be
problem.
a hell of an after show.
Yep. Got to keep all the cash in envelopes to avoid taxes. Crypto, no.
I think we solved it. Dogecoin.
Yeah. Yeah, and once taxes, etc., are considered, only about 50% of that amount, so $2,500 or about $1,250. Right. Wait, you have a Discord? I do have a Discord, Yakto. Rambo Coin. I mean, if you guys want to buy into Rambo Coin, I can send you etched coins. What's the ballpark minimum viable price on Floatplane? I would never move my business to Floatplane. Exclusively. Period. End of discussion. I'll talk more about that in Discord on some private chats. I don't want to disparage the work that's been done at Floatplane because it's fantastic, and Luke and Linus definitely have a fantastic vision for what they want Floatplane to become. The problem is, it's not economically viable for me to move my business to Floatplane. Etched Rambo coins, count me in. If you guys want etched Rambo coins, like hell yeah. Speaking of coins, what about bricks? I've sold a good number of bricks. I've sold about $12,000 in bricks. Those $12,000 are sitting in a savings account because my building is going to cost me about $25,000 to construct. I was looking at starting it earlier this year. Had a bunch of back and forth with the city. The city goes, you can't do that. And I said, well, I read the rules and it says I can. And they said, oh, right. You're right. Go ahead and resubmit your plan. So I resubmitted the plan and they said, you can't do that. So there's been that. We're finally in agreement with the city where they say, oh yeah, no, you can totally build the thing that you said you could build under the rules of the city rules that say you can build that there. But I also said I don't want to build in the rain. And I don't know if anyone's ever been to Oregon in November, December, January. It never stops raining. It just always kind of mists, which is the worst kind of rain. Like a downpour, I can weather so long as it's like a downpour for like 5 or 10 minutes. But then you go outside and the sun breaks through a little bit and you go, okay, cool, we can start working again. Oregon, it just mists forever. That's what it does. Did they hit you with a planned review cost? I haven't had to do the planned review cost yet. I've submitted drawings to them and said, here's where I want to build. And they said, you can't build there. And then I said, yes, I can, because it's my backyard, not my front yard. And they go, oh, right, but you have to follow the setback. No, that setback's if it was my front yard, not my backyard. This is my backyard. And then it went, oh, well, how tall is this building going to be? It's going to be 16 feet tall. Well, you can't do over 12 feet. Yes, I can, because it's a single story. Oh, okay, cool. Well, I've been through like every single bylaw with the city over the last 6 months. I haven't submitted official plans like blueprints, but I have submitted them some basic drawings of what I'm going to do. And at this point, I have like a tentative approval. But who knows what city planner I'm going to get in 6 months when I resubmit for a permit in March. So. Trick Logic says, I didn't mean as a sole source, speaking of Floatplane, but is it better than YouTube Premium or Patreon? No, Patreon is the best, followed by YouTube Premium, followed by Floatplane by a pretty wide margin. So what you're saying is I need to buy more bricks. No, what I'm saying is I need everyone to buy a brick. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Can we trade city councils? I commute through a town that approved a Starbucks drive-thru on a busy intersection. Well, my city council also approved a Dutch Brothers drive-thru on a very, very busy road that gets backed up anyway, and now has one lane blocked all the time because people need their caffeine, damn it. So yes, I would love to trade you city councils if all we had was a Starbucks and not a Starbucks and 3 Dutch Brothers. Local code enforcement is a nightmare everywhere. Ain't that the truth? Anyway, we're going to talk more in the after show, I'm sure. If you want to know how to get into the after show, follow the link down to the Patreon down in the video description. Costs you a minimum of $1 per month. I charge per video, but you can set a max donation of $1, which means the first video of every month, I will charge you $1, and then you ride the rest of the month for free. But that gets you access to my Discord server. Donate more if you want. It is definitely appreciated. And might even help keep the lights on around here if I get enough of them. But tuition for Jeff University, online Proxmox classes. I've thought about selling classes. I've thought about selling books. I've thought about doing all kinds of different things. Because the fact of the matter is, it's expensive to live where I live. I live in one of the highest income to cost areas in the country. We have the cheapest electricity, but one of the highest mortgage rates. So go figure. So yeah. My house isn't even all that spectacular. Like, it's good, but it's not great. But anyway, make sure to like this video. Subscribe to Craft Computing if you haven't done so already. Maybe I need to get Sandy M to brew me a beer. Maybe we'll get some revenue off that. Get the Hefe IPA.
The Craft Computing chocolate cream.
I think my first beer would need to be an IPA, followed very closely by a German brew, followed very closely by an Imperial Barrel-Aged Stout. Like, those are my top 3.
I don't know why, for some reason I thought you were going to say it needs to be an IPA followed by a CPA.
Nakirma wants to know what's the cost per kilowatt. 7.4 cents per kilowatt hour. It's some of the cheapest power in the country. It's 98% hydro. Shockingly enough, it's infinitely renewable. And once the infrastructure is in place, costs literally nothing to maintain. Yeah. Unless that's South California, right. Seattle, LA, and New York are some of the only places, and San Francisco are some of the only places that are more expensive to live than the Portland metro area. And as much as I hate to say it, Salem is now considered Portland metro because of how freaking expensive the Portland metro is. So, yeah. People commute an hour and 20 minutes into Portland to live here so they can afford to live in the Portland metro area. Which has just driven my price straight through the roof. It's been great. Really. Anyway. Pacific Northwest Power is 80% guilt-free. Rip salmon. Well, if you put it off the coast, it's better. Yeah. But so cheap, yes. Anyway, thank you so much all for watching episode 310. Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news. And as always, we'll see you next week.
So long.
Cheers,
and
everyone.
Thanks for all the fish.
Even the dead ones.